come this morning. This is an excellent opportunity and one that I pray that we have often. We always like to take time to honor the accomplishments of our students at Ridgeland High School throughout our district and also throughout this country, because an appointment such as this definitely gets the attention of more than just the area here, because it is one that is a very competitive situation and one that we competed well in, and we want to honor Gabe for that. So I appreciate each of you. I want to say welcome. Anytime that we have the opportunity to open the doors to the public, we welcome that opportunity. Today we have with us Congressman Harper this morning. We also have Ridgeland Mayor McGee. We have Dr. McGee, our superintendent of Madison County Schools, and several honorees in the audience, several distinguished guests in the audience as well. So we thank you all very much for coming, and we hope that it is an enjoyable morning for you. At this time, if Dr. McGee would have any words that he would like to share, he may. If not, he will. Our speaker for this morning will be Congressman Harper, and at this time I ask that Sean come up and make an introduction.
Good morning. Like Ms. Summer said, I'm Sean Bland. I'm the cadet commander of the Ridgeland High School Junior ROTC. It's my privilege today to introduce Greg Harper, the Honorable Greg Harper. Honorable Greg Harper is currently serving his third term in the U.S. House of Representatives after having been first elected to Congress in November of 2008. In 2012, he was honored to be re-elected with 80% of the vote. Mississippi's third congressional district stretches from Wilkinson County to Oktibbeha County, includes the northeast corner of Jackson and the I-20 corridor into east central Mississippi. He has lived in Mississippi's third congressional district since 1972 and currently resides in Pearl with his wife of 34 years, Sydney, and their two children, Livingston and Maggie. The Harpers are also active members of Crossgate Baptist Church in Brandon, Mississippi, where Greg also serves as a deacon. The son of a former petroleum engineer and a mom who worked 2 days a week until she was 88 years old, he learned at a young age the value of hard work and the importance of a solid education. He is a graduate of Mississippi College where he majored in chemistry. He then earned his law degree from the University of Mississippi School of Law in 1981. Prior to his service in Congress, he practiced law for 27 years, including serving as the prosecuting attorney for the cities of Brandon and Ridgeland. He also served on the Mississippi Oil and Gas Board and remains active in his community as a member of both the Pearl and Rankin County Chambers of Commerce. Congressman Harper serves on the influential House Committee on Energy and Commerce, where he is a member of three subcommittees: Environment and Economy, Commerce, Manufacturing and Trade, and Oversight and Investigation. The state's senior House Republican also sits on the Select Committee on House Administration, a special appointment made by House Speaker John Boehner. Additionally, he serves as chairman of the Joint Committee of the Library of Congress. It is Congressman Harper's desire to serve the state of Mississippi and our country with honor and integrity. In his work in the U.S. House of Representatives, he is committed to advocating conservative values and the important tasks and challenges facing America. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Greg Harper.
Thank you so much, and that's a great introduction. And I want to compliment you the way you got to do that. I know I couldn't introduce myself to anybody, so I probably should stop right there. But what a great day! Good to see everybody here. And we've got. Let me see where everybody is. Okay, where are my ninth graders? Okay, where are the 10th graders? 11, 12. This is an exciting opportunity for us to get to visit, and I can remember back in the 1800s when I was in school. Okay, it wasn't that long ago. When we go through life, we realize we say things to our parents, don't we? Sometimes that they take the wrong way. Y'all ever do that? I remember my mom's still mad at me. She's 90 now, and she still reminds me that when I was a little boy, I asked her if she lived during the Civil War. So we have to watch what we say sometimes to our folks. But you have a great opportunity, right? You're at a wonderful school, in a great city, and to be here with the mayor, who has done an incredible job for so many years of promoting this place. Beautiful high school, and Principal Summers and your superintendent. Everybody's committed to doing things to help promote you and to make sure that you do the right things and you have the right opportunities. Because you know, I remember sitting in the high school auditoriums. Now, there are a lot of really mad at me. I was at Provine in my 10th grade year. And then my parents moved out to the reservoir. That put me in the Pearl School District. Am I in trouble if I said that? Y'all have been big rivals, I know. So, but I never imagined when I was sitting where you were that one day I'd be up here speaking to you and be representing Mississippi in the United States House of Representatives. And let me say this about Mississippi as you go forward, is that you have opportunities to be a leader. You wouldn't be in this auditorium right now if you didn't have potential to do something great. And I want you to know that God has great things planned for you. Never settle for less than your very best. And don't listen, you know God's given you something in your heart that you want to do. But some friend or somebody's told you maybe you can't do that. Or maybe you're afraid to do it. My daughter is now 22. She graduated from Mississippi State in May. And she's finishing up a 6-month internship in France. And getting ready to come home. And I can't tell you how many times she has told me, she said, well, what if I try that and I don't make it? And you know what I told her? I said, well, honey, you've already not made it by not trying. So be, as the Lord told Joshua will not be strong and of good courage. You can do something great. And to do those things that you have in front of you is, just know you got a lot of folks that are praying for you and supporting you in what you do. And if you're going to be, it's really, a lot of times you have people that will say, oh man, you're great, you're doing something. And it's important at the same time that you have the confidence to do something great, that you also have the humility to know that you put others in front of yourself. Sometimes that'll happen to you when you really didn't expect it to happen. And so it's easy when you're serving in Congress to be very humble. Because there are people that will help you to be humble sometimes. I was at an event in Columbus, Mississippi. It was with a friend of mine. I mentioned his name. You know him. He works here in the county. And so he had his 7 or 8-year-old son with him. And he said, son, this is Congressman Greg Harper. And I went to shake his hand, and the little boy handed me his empty drink cup. So that'll tell you, you don't think that you got too much going on. But I want you to be leaders. I want you to be encouraged to know that you can do your very best. You're sitting out there right now thinking, man, I can do this. I can do something spectacular. So it means putting others ahead of yourself, being that servant that you know that you can be to help others get where they need to go to. And if you're going to be a leader, I will tell you the best leadership book that you will ever read is the Old Testament book of Nehemiah. So if you haven't picked that up lately, I encourage you to read Nehemiah and see how he overcame the challenges that he had to do to rebuild the walls in Jerusalem. Do your best. And to be here today, to be a part of a very special ceremony, to get a chance to talk a little bit about what Gabe Jones has accomplished. Getting into a military service academy is a big deal. West Point Military Academy, we have 8 in the state of Mississippi. And one of them's in the room right now. It's hard to do. You know what the value, you've already looked, some of you in the 11th, 12th grade, you've already looked at what college costs. Those of you in the 9th and 10th are beginning to think about it. But it's pretty expensive. But to get an education at West Point, the value of that is somewhere between $350,000 and $450,000. Now also, is we also have there's always people that help us, you know. When you do something, you accomplish something great, there will be people that you know that are with you, standing with you all the time. And I know that Gabe has his parents here and grandparents, and so would all of Gabe's folks stand up, please? Now, I want to say that Gabe has done lots of stuff. To get into West Point, you have to check a lot of boxes. You have to be at the top of it academically. You have to be there athletically. You have to be a team player. You have to be one who does things of service to the community, to your school. It's not easy. It's a very difficult. The easiest part is for me to nominate, but to get in, to be appointed, to receive an appointment, it doesn't happen. I can't pick up the phone and say, hey, we really like this young man, this young lady, to get in. It doesn't work that way. It only works if you do the things that you have to do. It's a very objective standard. And if you don't have the things that are there, you're not going to get in. Now, I want you to also know, those of you that, particularly the 9th, 10th, 11th graders, we have a military academy day every year. And this year, ours will be on what date, Steve, night? Saturday. What time of the day? Okay, 9 o'clock Saturday morning, April the 5th, will be our next military academy day. It will be at Pearl High School this year. And so if you have any interest, Steve, stand up, wave your hand right there. If you have any interest, this guy's got some information on it, and he is the one, Steve will wear it out. He does the military service academy appointments for me and for Senator Roger Wicker. He knows everybody in the system. This is the guy you want to talk to. But here's the thing, look, the worst that happens is you got to get up and leave home about 8:30 on a Saturday morning, just to come check it out for a couple hours and hear people speak from the different service academies, and it'll really help you set your course. You know, I'm not great on poetry, but my mom, like probably a lot of your moms, did the counted cross stitch, and she's got this one that hangs on the wall in her house, and it says, "One ship sails east, another west, with the self-same winds that blow. 'Tis the set of the sails, and not the gales, which determines the way they go." So you're going to determine where you go by how you set your sails. This is something I encourage you to come and consider. But I couldn't be more proud of what Gabe has accomplished. But I also want you to know that there's another young person who was in the room earlier, may not be in now, and that's Sean Murray. Sean Murray is the Naval Academy nominee. We nominated him for Naval Academy. So they just haven't made their announcements yet. But let me tell you, if you get one student in to an academy, it's a big deal. And you may get a second, we just don't know yet. So we're going to be praying for him in that process too. But I want you to know we're so proud of Gabe, what he's accomplished. But that's a small part of who he is and who he will become, because those skills that he's learned here at Ridgeland High School, he will take with him. And I want you to know this, I take Mississippi with me everywhere I go. Don't listen to the naysayers out there. You know there's not a better state in the union to raise a family. Your friends, people you love, the core values that you want to have. And plus, we can fry anything. The food's always better in Mississippi, right? But here's the thing. You're getting ready to have Gabe Jones go and represent you and represent the state of Mississippi. And he'll carry it with him everywhere he goes. And so it's my honor to present to you, and I have a certificate that I'm going to present to him now, and also a flag that was flown over the United States Capitol in his honor. If you'll come forward, will you please recognize Gabe Jones, please.
Give Gabe one more hand. This is a major accomplishment, and he is the same humble fellow that he has been since I met him. And I know his parents know that that is just his demeanor, and he's just one of those wonderful kids. And I know he's one that's shy, and he may say, you know, I really don't want all of this, I don't want these things. However, your work speaks for you, and it's something that we are so proud to do and glad to have the opportunity. So just take it all in stride, and come from heart, like I said, hard work, it does pay off. So he's a shining example of that. We have asked, because we have every student that you see in this room is one student. Comes from heart, I'm not sure that you know that. But, and there may be some interest in this process, and also steps that they can take now as students, 9th, 10th, 11th grade, even seniors that are going off to college that will have opportunities such as this. And we would like if you would just take a brief moment to answer any questions that we may have. Just easy questions. Mr. Birchfield has the mic, and he will allow the students to ask any questions that they may have.
I have no idea. No. Her question was, what does it take to become a congressman? Any other subparts to that question, or is that just it? Okay, well, this is an honors group. How old do you have to be to serve the United States House of Representatives? All right. 25. Okay. All right. If you're going to be in the United States Senate, you have to be 30. Okay. So 25 to serve in the House. So that's your constitutional requirement to do that. But it takes a lot of, it's pretty tough. I mean, I represent 24 counties, go all the way from Ottawa County, Mississippi State, all the way down to Woodville and Natchez on the Mississippi River, and all the way over to Meridian. And so it's 24 counties. So if you're going to look, I've always been involved as a highly unpaid political volunteer. I had friends running for various offices, and I'd help them. I'd go to door to door, make phone calls, phone banks. And actually, the very first campaign I worked on, I was a student at Mississippi College, my senior year of college. So I've actually done that for a long time. So that's a great way. If you're going to get there, getting involved, it's extremely important. Those of you, here's something you may not realize. If you're going to be 18 by the November election, but you're not quite 18 by the time of the primary, you can still vote in the primary. So make sure you register to vote, and so make sure you take care of that. So that's an important responsibility, as you look at the leadership aspect of it. y'all, when I decided to run, and I'll tell you this quickly, 2007, August of 2007, Chip Pickering, who was the congressman, announced he wasn't going to run for re-election. We announced that very day he announced that he wasn't going to run, that we were. So we were, it was a 7-person primary, and we had one self-funder who spent $1.3 million to the primary. Another one that had statewide name ID spent $600,000 plus. He made the runoff, and we made the runoff spending $270,000. Yeah, which is not supposed to happen. Because television costs at least $10,000 a day. Okay, for a district race, not talking statewide, just a district, so you had to raise money. So our campaign was the pay and pray campaign. Okay, so we raised $20,000 by 2 days. So I'm going to give you aspiring politicians some advice here, okay? When we got down to the last 2 days of that campaign, we had no money left, and you can't go dark the last 2 days of the campaign, can you? So I went to the bank, and I borrowed $20,000. And here's my advice. You ready? Free advice. You ready? If you decide to do that and go to the bank and borrow $20,000 for the last part of your campaign, make sure you tell your wife about it before she reads it in the Clarion Ledger. I'm only alive today because it had been paid back when we had won. Okay, so, but it takes a commitment to really want to help your state. And so you have to do the political stuff to get elected in order to do the things that are important to help people in your district and in your state. So it's a long process. I've been there now 5 years. My life's in Mississippi, not in Washington, D.C. So I'm still mowing my yard. And I've told my wife, we can get somebody else, but she thinks I do it just right. So we're going to stick with that. Next question.
You told us about how you campaigned, but what's the actual process of getting on the ballot if you want to run?
If you want to run, you don't run against me, right? Okay. All right. No, the actual process and to run for Congress is you do have to go to your party headquarters, either Republican or Democrat, and pay a filing fee and fill out the form and sign that application to run. So it's not a complicated process to be on the ballot. So yes, ma'am.
You said you majored in chemistry in college. I'm just wondering, how did you get into politics?
Okay, that's a good question. You know where the word politics comes from, don't you? That's the word poly, meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking insects. But anyway, I will save that for another time. Chemistry. Originally I thought I might go to medical school, and so as I got through a lot of life in the lab, I decided that wasn't the route that I wanted to go. I decided to go to law school, and so that the chemistry background was great. So science and math were always, and if you're in the honors program, you're taking a lot of that. It's extremely important. But it really helped. Actually, after the chemistry at Mississippi College, law school wasn't as difficult because I had to get through some very difficult stuff, from physics to calculus to organic chemistry, you name it. And so, I could have taken an easier route academically, but I don't think I would have been as prepared as I am today if I'd done that. So it's always good to challenge yourself. How much? All right, anybody have another question? One back there.
I was wondering if you ever had the ability to influence any legislation?
Have I ever had the opportunity to influence legislation? Yes, sometimes you do, and that influence can go to stop bad legislation or to pass good legislation. And I'll give you one thing that we're working on right now that we finally got to pass the House. It's the Gabriella Miller Kids First Research Act, be a perfect example. This would eliminate taxpayers from paying for political party conventions every 4 years, and instead send that some $13 million instead would go over to increase funding at National Institutes of Health for increased pediatric research, whether that's for cancer. You know, our oldest child, our son, has Fragile X syndrome, Down syndrome, juvenile diabetes. It would increase the research money over there. So that's a good bill. It is in the Senate, and we don't know if it'll ever see the light of day. So we're trying to, you know, our two senators support it. But that's the type of thing that you have to work through. I had to go see lots of my other fellow members and get them to sign all of the bills. So that took months and months to do that. So that's the way you have to be. If you have something that's really good, it takes a while, and you just can't give up. And sometimes it doesn't happen on that term. You may have to come back and refile it 2 years later, you know, and do that. So, good question. All right, guys, let's give Gabe Jones another hand.
Thank you so much, and I'm sure that the Military Academy Day, if there are additional, or the Academy Day, if there are additional questions that you come up with, they will be addressed at that time. So as many of you as can on that day, April the 5th, take advantage of that. That's a Saturday, and I will share something here this morning also. On Monday, we had a professional development day where the students were out, and actually more than 100 of our students opted to come in and do additional work in preparation for their classes. So you have a group that will sacrifice sleep in order to learn things. So we're proud of you. We have a presentation also from our PTO, Ridgeland High School PTO this morning, and Mrs. Langford will make that presentation.
Hi, I wanted to say, Gabe, we're so proud of you, and as we send you off, we have a little present for you. Just remember us as you go off to represent Mississippi at Ridgeland High School. That is for you. Congratulations. Thank you for coming to our school today.
Thank you, Ms. Lanford and PTO. They do lots of things for us and behind the scenes, I know, but we really appreciate their involvement and everything they bring to our school, mainly our students, you know, so we appreciate them tremendously. Again, this morning has been a wonderful occasion, and I'm so glad you all could share with us. I'm sure there will be photos following this, and I would ask that Mr. and Mrs. Jones and the family please remain so we can take photos as well. We are having, we will have this posted on our website as well, because there were a number of individuals, especially throughout the district, that were unable to come this morning, and I'm sure students at other schools, so they will have an opportunity to see this as well. And I just appreciate you all very much this morning. And thanks again. Congratulations again to Gabe and the process. Students, you will be dismissed to our 6 block class, and those that are with Gabe, Olivia, feel free to stay and look at the photos afterwards. Thank you all so much.